Yeah, so I really got my sea legs going in the world of alternative comics publishing in the El Año 1983, the year of 83. I published Dog Boy #1, the special shoe issue, in March. In early July of 1983, I published number two, Dog Boy #2, Night of the Doggy Cycle. A couple interesting stories in there. And then in October of 1983, I published Dog Boy #3, which Kat Ironwood in her review in the Comics Buyer's Guide called it one of the best comic books in America. She wasn't making a distinction between genres of comic books, just one of the best comic books in America. Thank you for that. And also in the summer of 1983, I made my first journey to the San Diego Comics Convention. You know, I crashed some parties. Who was I? And I met J.R. Williams, Robert Crabb, Kika Kane, formerly Kate Kane, Adam Alexander and Leslie Sternberg, and Jim Valentino, many others. Clay Geardes was there. I guess I met Clay there. God, it was wonderful to meet all those people and to just be involved. We got in the bar in the Hotel San Diego and we just drew and drew and drew and drew and had a huge amount of fun. And some of these people are lifelong friends. Anyway, so that was Dog Boy 1, 2, and 3 in 1983. So let's just take a look at the rest of the Cathead run of Dog Boy, issues 1 through 7. That, you know, this was like my first phase of intensive comic production and publishing. So let's switch to looking at issues 4, 5, 6, and 7 with a little bit of commentary on each. Alrighty. Here we go. Let's take a quick peek at some of the Cathead Comics run of Dog Boy. Here's Dog Boy #4. Dog of the Year issue. I had left Eugene, and this one came out in April of 1984. I was living in Portland for a few months, and I met Marcus L. Reed, the man behind Pastime Publications. He was putting out a great series of small press comic books in Portland, Oregon. I worked with Marcus on his magazine, The Comics Block. He put out 6 issues in 6 months, or maybe 7 issues in 7 months, I forget. But I was the alleged art director of that, and Marcus and I just jammed that magazine out. Marcus, actually, he got on a Heidelberg and he printed this cover for me. What a heroic thing. Thank you, Marcus. But, you know, it's obviously a takeoff on the cover of Time magazine. But, you know, this was a nice issue of Dog Boy. Dog Boy's being driven around by his robot chauffeur in a Volkswagen Bug, and he's like got this big griddle in the back seat, and he's cooking breakfast, and he burnt his omelets. He's super pissed off. It's because he's too jacked up on coffee, and you know, so that was a fine issue of Dog Boy. Next up was Enter Dr. Mainstream. I don't know. In the early 80s, there was a million people trying to like start new mainstream comic book companies with their own worlds of superheroes. And, you know, they were all making their good efforts. But I don't know, you know. I got to be honest, by the time I was 13 or 14, superheroes were just, you know, it's kid stuff. It's like, come on. Let's do some adult comics. I mean, not adult necessarily like, you know, lots of sex and stuff, but, you know, mature themes, sophisticated themes, you know, because I'm so sophisticated. Anyway, so this is a superhero parody. There's old Dog Boy over the Portland, Oregon landscape. He's over the Willamette River there fighting Dr. Mainstream and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Marcus Reed printed this cover for me, too. Poor Marcus, man. I made him get on his Heidelberg there and jam out these comic book covers. I kicked him a few bucks, but oh my God, I should take this guy out and like get him drunk or something. I mean, thank you, Marcus. Anyway, next up, I had moved to the Bay Area. I don't know, sort of like okay, you know. I just I don't know. I lived in Oregon for almost 4 years and I loved it. I love Oregon. I'm part Oregonian. God, the Oregonians are going to kill me for saying that. Actually, I lived there again in this century too for a couple of years. So there you go. I'm so bona fide. But this was the Media Lies issue of Dog Boy. I had read by W.A. Swaberg his wonderful biographies of both Henry Luce, which was called Luce and His Empire, the founder of Fortune, Time, Life, and also William Hearst. Now Hearst, Citizen Hearst, that one was called. Hearst was, Hearst was basically, he started out as sort of an advocate for the common man, the working man, and he ended up a right-wing propagandist, whereas Luce was just like a right-wing propagandist from the get-go, who had God on his side, good old Presbyterian Luce, kind of running the Cold War single-handedly. Just one of the people who kind of like permanently damaged. He's fascinating, a brilliant, ambitious guy, but Luce probably did as much to harm America as anyone with his just right-wing baloney and salami. There's a scene in here of my character Benba running the press. My fingers are too fat. I can't find it. Oh, well. Anyway, onward. Benba manages to reproduce millions of himself. You can kind of see it in the background there on the cover. All these Benbas running off the press. I'd had a little job when I was in Portland at that point, running an A.B. Dick 360 press. You can print a tabloid sheet on it. That was kind of fun. Didn't want to make a life out of it. Anyway, and then Dog Boy number 7, Mean Cat Again. This is like my favorite issue of Dog Boy, I suppose. I did this weird painting of my Mean Cat character for the cover, and it kind of came out kind of cool. And I had a great lineup of one-pagers from like Parr Holman, Brad W. Foster, J.R. Williams, even Dale Luciano, the critic, had something in there. And who else? Let's see. Steve Beaupre's in there. Steve Willis has a page in here. But really, this was my kind of most successful Dog Boy story. Just really laid out. Dog Bag is in there. The cool thing about this one is a friend of mine named Brendan Smith, a dear friend, was helping me with distribution. He kind of became a distribution agent. He moved back out east, and he was taking my books around. I think he's the guy who signed me up with Seagate Distribution. Thank you, Brendan. But he also went to an early signing of Matt Groening doing Life in Hell. He handed Matt a copy of Dog Boy, and he said, "Hey, will you sign this Dog Boy for my friend Steve?" And so Matt draws, "Steve, I dig Dog Boy." And there's his bunny guy there. Matt Groening, June of '86. So this is my favorite issue of Dog Boy with a drawing to me from Matt in it. That's hard to beat in my heart, because God love him, man. One of the best cartoonists ever. All right, so that's the early Cathead run of Dog Boy. We're up to date on that, and yeah, next time this video is a little longer. Hope no one's fallen asleep. The next time. There's Brad Foster's piece on the back. The next one will move into my Fantagraphics run of Dog Boy. All right, thanks for checking this out. This is fun to do.